Ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to have the opportunity to address this forum on a critical issue of our time, the green recovery. In these extraordinary times, there will be increased pressures to trade off a green for a brown recovery. While a swift, job-rich recovery in Europe and globally is imperative and cannot be compromised, we can no longer prevaricate when it comes to the dual climate and environmental emergencies. Climate change is not slowing, and neither is biodiversity and ecosystem loss. The latest United Nations emissions gap report is clear. We must reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 50% this decade. So there cannot be any return to business as usual. Simply, there is no time. The EIB Group, the largest global multilateral financier of climate action, stands ready to play its part. In November 2019, we committed to ending our financing of unabated fossil fuel energy, to aligning all financing activities with the goals of the Paris Agreement by the end of this year, to dedicating at least 50% of EIB financing to climate action and environmental sustainability by 2025, and to supporting €1 trillion of climate and environmental investment in this decade. And our responses to the pandemic have been framed by these commitments. We are a key partner in the Recovery Plan for Europe. Our largest initiative, the Pan-European Guarantee Fund, will support up to €200 billion of financing with a focus on SMEs, the backbone of Europe's real economy. Outside the EU, we are stepping up our support to developing countries, communities and companies, not only in COVID-19 relief, but in building resilience and financing low-carbon investment. One example is the City Climate Finance Gap Fund, to be operationalized this month, which will support cities in developing countries in implementing their climate projects. We can expect investment to be depressed in the foreseeable future. It took a decade for European business investment to recover from the global financial crisis. We know that the huge investment gaps that we could see before the virus in climate, digitalization, skills, infrastructure will widen. But we know where they are, and we can support the efforts to bridge them. While crucial, the public sector alone cannot take the entire burden of leading our economies toward a green recovery. The required acceleration will depend on deep technological changes, the way markets will be shaped, and critically on private sector engagement. To this end, we have contributed to the landmark EU taxonomy for sustainable finance by establishing clear, robust definitions of green investments with disclosure and reporting requirements. Transparency and accountability. The taxonomy will help channeling financial resources towards the multitude of projects needed for decarbonization and avoid greenwashing. Under the taxonomy, the term green will apply to investments contributing substantially to averting the climate and environmental emergencies. If we consider the worsening polar ice melt, droughts, hurricanes, and forest fires around the world, the kilometer-wide islands of plastics in our oceans, then we know that the climate and environmental crises are speeding up. If ever there was a time to avoid greenwashing, it is now. The younger generation has made it clear. They need a perspective in a world which is sustainable. We must turn our pandemic recovery into a defining successful moment in our fight against climate change and environmental degradation. Thank you very much.